The wedding. Today is my fiancé's, or rather, my former fiancé's wedding. I'm standing outside the church, watching him marry someone else. Why am I here? That's a question even I can't answer. I'm crying, torn between barging in to stop the ceremony and just walking away. The man I love, the father of my son, is in there saying I do to another woman. How could he do this to me? Let's go back a bit. Daktari and I were together for 6 years, 4 months, and 17 days, yes, I've counted. We met at a friend's party during my college days. He pursued me relentlessly throughout my 3 years of school and into my first year of work. I finally gave in, and we started dating. Not long after, I discovered I was pregnant. I was scared. But Matt? He was over the moon. 6 months into the pregnancy, we moved in together. Our son was born, and life began, or so I thought. On the eve of our son's first birthday, we went out with friends to celebrate before hosting a party for him. That night, Matt proposed. He got down on one knee and asked me to be his wife. It felt like I had it all: a beautiful son, a loving partner, and a future full of promise. Matt wasn't traditionally handsome. He was more of an acquired taste. But what he lacked in looks, he made up for with charm, generosity, and humor. He was attentive, thoughtful, and deeply involved in our family. When our son was born, Matt took a full month off work, then worked half-days for the next 2 months to help me. He handled diaper changes, late-night feedings, and bath times. He was a hands-on dad and an incredible partner. We had date nights every Tuesday, and family brunches every Sunday. He was a great lover, too, passionate and attentive. By all appearances, Daktari was perfect. But, like all couples, we faced challenges. Ours were amplified by the whirlwind pace of our relationship: dating, pregnancy, moving in together, parenting. We were still figuring each other out. When our son turned 3, we began discussing a wedding. Friends and family kept asking when we'd tie the knot, so we couldn't ignore it anymore. One night, after date night, I brought it up. "Babe, we should think about the wedding," I said. "Let's talk about it later." "I'm tired," he replied. I didn't push. I figured we were happy as we were, so why force it? But months later, when I tried to revisit the topic, Matt snapped. His anger shocked me. It wasn't like him at all. I assumed it was work stress. He was a pilot, and his job often left him tired and irritable. So, I let it go again. But the cracks began to show. Daktari became moody and argumentative. He'd pick fights over small things and storm out to stay at a hotel for days. When he returned, he always apologized, and we fell back into our rhythm. One day, though, he crossed a line. It was his day off, and I was at work when he showed up unannounced. He disrupted my entire office, demanding to see financial records and talking to staff as if he owned the place. When I asked him to wait for me in my office, he exploded. That led to a week-long fight, culminating in him demanding I quit my job to focus on our home. I refused. My ICT firm was my passion, my life's work. I wasn't going to give it up. Daktari eventually apologized, but the cycle continued. Fights, apologies, and distance. Then came the call. It was a Saturday. I got a missed call from Tasha, the wife of one of Daktari's friends. We rarely spoke, so I called her back. "Hi, Tasha. Everything okay?" Her voice was hesitant. I don't know how to say this," she stammered. "What is it? Is Daktari okay?" She took a deep breath. "I'm at All Saints Cathedral. Daktari's getting married." I froze. My world stopped. I drove to the church in a daze. By the time I arrived, the ceremony was nearly over. I stood outside, watching through the open doors as Daktari kissed his new bride. She was pregnant. As they walked out, Daktari saw me. He smiled but didn't falter. His mother approached me, her tone sharp. "You'll need to move out of Daktari's house," she said. "He's married now, and they'll need the space." I couldn't speak. My heart felt like it was shattering into a million pieces. I left the church and drove home. Alone in my bedroom, I sobbed until I couldn't cry anymore. My phone buzzed incessantly with calls and messages from people asking about the wedding. I gave myself 2 days to grieve. On Monday, I would start packing and looking for a new place. For my son's sake, life would have to go on.